Welcome back to the Mental Health Matchmaker, the podcast from Building Bridges Psychotherapy. I'm your host, Brooke, and this is an Ask a Therapist episode where you submit your therapy questions and we bring them to one of our licensed therapists for honest, grounded answers. Today, I'm joined by registered therapist Jolie, and we're diving into 3 questions that touch on some really human parts of therapy: why we become therapists, why receiving good things can sometimes feel uncomfortable, and how we can begin to move forward when we're carrying shame about something we've done. Jolie shares what first drew her to therapy and how she came to understand that sometimes the most meaningful thing we can give another person isn't something we can buy or fix, but simply our presence. We also explore why things like kindness, healthy relationships, or being treated well can feel uncomfortable when they don't line up with how we've learned to see ourselves. And finally, we talk about something that can be incredibly difficult to bring into therapy: shame. What happens when you're afraid that a therapist will judge you for something you've done, and how can we begin to make peace with the past? Let's get into our first question. Question is, why did you decide to become a therapist?
It all started during COVID. I found myself like everyone else in my room, stuck, doing nothing. I dealt with my own existential crisis, my own depression. I had so many questions of why am I here for? What's the purpose in life? And I really lost my purpose, and that's what made me depressed, right? So the door opened, and then I started going on missions to Africa. We would go to orphanages, prisons, and serve the people there. We can get clothes, medications, school supplies, whatever they need. But I felt like I saw the world from the other side when I went. The people there are so happy, joyful, grateful. They have nothing. The kids can wake up at 4 or 5 a.m. to go get water. After 7 p.m. there is no electricity. It's a very hard life, but they're very joyful too. They can go walk to school for 1 hour and they're singing and they're happy. So here in Canada, when I have so many things, I still manage to complain about my luxuries. I go to a 5-star hotel and I'm like, the food could have been better. I find something to complain about. So I decided to go again, and I lived in the orphanage there.
When did you go?
I went for 3 months recently in January. I stayed from January to March, and then I just lived in the orphanage. For the first 2 weeks, I had so many things to give: medication, school supplies, shoes, clothes, just everything. But 2 weeks later, I ran out.
Wow.
So they were also wondering, why are you here? You're here, you're not giving us anything. And me being a very solution-focused person, I'm I need to fix things. The education system, the water problems, the electricity, I need to fix.
Yeah.
Which was not practical. But I found that when I lived there at the orphanage, I was just part of their day. Part of their journey. The girls would come back from school. They would tell me about their fears, their stories, their dreams. We would have a lot of group discussions. I'd just be there for them, present, listening to them, helping them in homework, cooking with them, walking to school, just being present. And at the very end, I realized that it wasn't about the things I could give, the materialistic things that I could give that I didn't have after 2 weeks. It was just about being there for them, being present, being there in their journey, right? Mm-hmm. So I decided to do this for a living. I came back to Canada. I'm I want to be there for people. I want to be present. And I learned a sentence that it says, it's only in giving that we receive. If I'm very entitled to my own pleasures, my own happiness, my goal in life is to just have more money or a better position, it was not fulfilling to me. So I decided that it's only in giving care and support to people that I receive a sense of fulfillment. And that was the purpose I found. So that's why I decided to become a therapist.
That's amazing. Okay, wait. So what did you receive? And was it in an instant? Was there a moment?
So the girls I lived with at the orphanage, they have a very hard past. They're orphans. Mm-hmm. So each person has a story to tell. When I saw the joy in their eyes of you actually want to listen to me and you don't need anything from me. Why do you love me? Why do you care so much?
Wow.
And that unconditional love that I was giving, I was also receiving at the same time. That sense of reward or fulfillment that I did something to you. I listened to you. All you needed to do is just to talk. or for someone to love you, and that's the only thing that I could give because I had nothing materialistic to give you. That's why I'm like, I want to do this for a living. Let me be present for people all the time. But because I can't really fix problems, I was just I would help you like unpack the past, explore the present, explore your patterns, and then decide like in the present how you want to live the future.
I really, really love the idea that sometimes our presence is enough. We don't always have to find the perfect words or be able to fix what's happening for someone. Sometimes just being there and witnessing another person can be incredibly meaningful. And that got me thinking about something else Jolie talks about. What happens when we're on the receiving end of that same kind of care? Why can being treated well, receiving kindness, or even experiencing a healthy relationship make some of us uncomfortable? Jolie touches on this, attachment styles, and more. Let's get into it. Why is it hard for me to receive good things and good experiences and good relationships? It makes me feel uncomfortable when things are going right or I'm being treated well. Oof.
I always hear this, to be honest. Like, I'm a very giving person. I want to care for everyone. I am present. I plan birthdays. I want to be there for them. I think about others. I love to help others. But when it comes to my turn to receive, something doesn't feel right. It feels too much for me to receive. So why is that the case? Like, we really need to kind of pause and reflect. Why is it harder for me to receive than to give? Do I feel like I'm unworthy to receive? Do I not deserve an act of service? Someone like putting effort to make me happy? Do I not deserve this? So if that's the case, then how did my perception of my self-worth develop? Where did I learn that I'm unworthy of love? Let's go back to your childhood, right? How was love expressed in your house? Was it inconsistent? Was it connected to accomplishments? Did you have to work hard to earn the love, or was it freely given? And if that's the case, then you may have learned that love is transactional. You have to give me something, I give you something back. So now if a very like healthy form of love is there for me, and it's consistent and it's very genuine, I'm like, this is too much for me. I'm not used to this. If my own parents did not love me unconditionally, why would you? Why would I trust you?
Right.
Where's the trap, right? It's too good to be true. So you may have learned I have to keep performing to receive love. If I don't perform, if I don't impress, I don't deserve the love. Now, when you allow yourself to receive, receiving no longer feels like a gift. Your nervous system goes into alert, like something is happening, I'm receiving, right? So it feels like you're in debt. I need to give something back. I received and I need to give back because the transactional love that I learned with my parents, that I need good grades to receive their validation or approval. So I needed always to work hard to receive. It wasn't freely given, it was conditional.
Right. You needed to like earn love. It feels like a tally chart, like, which if I think about that, that doesn't feel like real love.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you always think about what you can give back when you receive, you'll feel like this is a lot of pressure for me, a lot of expectations put on me. So let me either leave or I'm not going to accept that form of love because I don't want to be in debt. We also develop our attachment style based on the reactions we got from our parents and caregivers when we did express like our needs and discomfort and hurt. So, for example, if as a child you're crying, you're feeling like you're hurt or you have some discomfort, and a caregiver comes to you and they comfort you and they're consistently present, you'll feel like, okay, my needs matter. Like, it's okay to show that I'm angry or upset. But if as a child you cry because you need something, and then someone comes or your parents come and say like, stop crying, you're being so dramatic, or you're too much, you're like, I give you so much and you're not appreciating me, or like dismissing how you feel, you'll feel like, okay, my needs make people uncomfortable. It's not safe for me to make my needs like clear to people or expose what I need. So let me just like disengage. I'm not showing you that I need anything because the need comes with hurt, right?
Right. Or like I'm bad if I have something that feels inconvenient for you, then I can't be my true self.
Yeah, it comes with a lot of shame. Like, I'm ashamed of even having needs or making them clear to you. And also, like, our previous relationships, they teach us this. If you became vulnerable, someone told you some nice words, you fell for it. Like,
Yeah.
You became vulnerable, exposed your needs, exposed your feelings, and then you got hurt. You're like, no, I'm gonna be very conservative or very careful in the future. I don't want to get hurt again. So I will not receive from you, because receiving makes me feel vulnerable. And that's what the avoidant attachment style does, right? When I expose myself and I receive love, I become very vulnerable, and I value my autonomy and my independence.
Right.
So receiving from you makes me feel like I'm losing my autonomy. It gives me a lot of pressure and expectations in the relationship. So what they do is they pull away, they leave. I'm not ready for a relationship. So because they leave, you're like, okay, love. When I receive love, I become vulnerable, I open up, and I get hurt. So let me not do this.
Right. Or I get rejected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even anxious attachment, they really fear getting rejected or being abandoned. The first thing when they receive a healthy form of love, they're like, what if I lose it? That's the first thought of anxious attachment.
Stressful.
Yeah, for the avoidant, they're like, what if I lose myself in this? What if I lose my autonomy? So what's also confusing is when love and harm come from the same person. For example, if you have like a very loving mom or dad, but at the same time, they kind of abuse you verbally. They say very hurtful words. So your brain is like, okay, so should I love them or should I take a step back? Like, who are they? Are they good or bad?
Right.
And then in relationships, you have two options. You either accept very toxic and abusive treatments because you're like, okay, they're still giving me love. They're giving me a good side, so I can just accept the bad side because that's what I've been used to. Or when you receive a healthy form of love, you're like, I'm scared because they might also show me the other side, the harmful side, because that's what I've been seeing. It's a whole package. It's the good and bad together in one person.
Right.
So that makes it hard to receive the love.
The way we experience relationships in the past can often connect back to what we've learned about love, care, and our own worth throughout our lives. And when we're used to questioning whether we deserve good things, receiving them can bring up a lot more than we might expect. But there's another kind of discomfort that can keep us from reaching out for support. Shame. When we're carrying something we regret and we're afraid that someone else will judge us for it, it can feel easier to stay alone with it. Let's get into our final question. I did something bad, and I feel really ashamed of myself. I'm afraid to come to therapy and be judged for my actions, but now I'm sitting with it alone, and I don't know where to turn. That's
Honestly,
hard.
like, I would be judging you if I'm a perfect human being who doesn't do mistakes. But that's not the case, unfortunately. I make mistakes, and I'm very susceptible to do the same mistake that you're doing and you're ashamed of.
Yeah.
So by me looking at myself and seeing how weak I am and that I'm like, I can do the same mistakes you're doing, makes me not judge people, right? And like, I've been serving in the prison for a few years now, and I see people living behind bars, living in the physical prison, yet they live freely. They're enjoying this freedom because they were able to forgive themselves and move on. And I also see the other side. I see people living in what we call like a happy life in the world, not in prison, but they are imprisoned to their past or enchained to their past. They're kind of living their day-to-day life carrying that heavy burden from their past, which is very hard for them to move forward because they're unable to forgive themselves. Right? So you just have to expose your pain to someone. Like I read a book called Total Forgiveness. It's talking about forgiving what you can't forget and accepting what you can't change. Right? So I strongly believe that we're all good people with like a package of decisions. A bad decision does not mean you're a bad person, right? And life is just like life is not a life without all of these like success, failure, regret, good things, bad things, people coming into our life, others leaving. Like no one's life is just perfect, right? So you can't have one decision or one mistake that would dictate how you're going to live the rest of your life. It's just not fair to you. You deserve a second chance and you deserve to forgive yourself and live freely. So if you know you're sick and you're carrying something very heavy, what you need to do is just like, you know, when we're sick, we go to the doctor, uncover the wound, no matter how bad it smells or it looks.
Right.
We have to uncover it, expose it to the doctor so he can fix it, right? But if you have something, if you have like a tumor and say, I'm not going to go to the doctor, I'll just manage it by myself, or I will wait until I get better and then I'll go see a doctor. No one says that, right? But it will grow bigger and it will affect other aspects of your life. So it has to be exposed and fixed, right? You have to bring up the past, unpack, open up, so you can heal from the past.
So you can get to the other side. Exactly. That's it for this episode of Ask a Therapist. If you have a question you'd like answered in a future episode, check the show notes for details on how to submit. We would love to hear from you.